What is going on, everybody? It is Frank the Tank, and welcome to part 5 of this series where we look at every single Belmo ball and rate them out of 5 stars. In this one, we're going to look at the trend 2 after having looked at the trend, and I don't know what to think. I don't know what's going to happen, and after really thinking about it, I don't know why, but I feel like the trend 2 is actually going to get a much lower rating than the trend, simply because the trend 2 was made because of what the trend didn't do. So allow me to bring you up to speed on how the trend 2 came about. Belmo saw Francois Lavoie and Anthony Simonson throwing the ball on tour. He saw them using it on TV. Francois Lavoie threw a perfect game with it on TV, and Anthony Simonson bowled like a 279 in the PBA Players Championship. I think it was in 2021. I can't remember. I think it was 2021. And the thing that he noticed was that the ball, when they threw the ball, it was very lengthy and hardly had any back end. The only way you could get some back end out of it is if you threw it pretty slow. And you could see that with Francois Lavoie's ball reaction when he threw that 300. He throws it like 16 miles per hour. So once he saw that, he put in a phone call to Storm and asked them, what can we do about making another ball like the trend, but it needs to react sooner, and he needs to have more back end. So the boys at Storm got to work, and they made some modifications to the piston core. They took some chunks out of it, and as a result of that, the RG went up and the differential went down. So technically the trend 2 ended up being weaker. However, they ended up putting a very strong hybrid cover on it, and that's what ended up giving Belmo the result that he was looking for. The ball ended up grabbing at the lane sooner, and it ended up having a lot more back end. So yeah, that ball was only made simply to fill in those gaps that the trend was missing, you know. So that's why I think that this ball might end up getting a lower rating. And, you know, this is almost like with the timeless and the drive. Like the timeless, they made it, and then I'm only speaking on my experience here. I'm not speaking overall. But with my experience, the timeless ended up having too much skid, and it was just out of control for me. I couldn't understand the ball reaction. It didn't match up with me. And then the drive came out, and that ball corrected the issues that I saw with the timeless. It grabbed earlier, and it grabbed in a way that I could see, you know, everything. I understood the ball motion. So yeah, it not only was like a 1-2 punch, but it was also made what I think Storm knew that. I think that they knew that a lot of people were having those kinds of issues with the timeless, and they ended up making the drive, you know, as a result of that. So I feel like that's what they did with the trend and trend 2. So this will be interesting to see. So let's get to those 10 strikes and see where this ball ends up on the rating list. Okay, everybody, that was 10 strikes with the trend 2. Good God, I love that ball. Now it's time to see where this thing is going to end up on the ratings list. So let's answer these 10 questions. All right, guys, here we go. Question number 1. Does the length and the shape match up with me? Indeed it does. I can see exactly where that ball wants to grab at the lane, and as a result, I can see how that ball wants to turn the corner, and so on and so forth. Does it carry? Surprisingly, yes, it does. I say surprisingly because you guys saw the way that ball was shaping when it got down lane. It would immediately turn, and then it would like just roll to the pins, and it had a lot of time lining up to the pocket, and that usually worries me because that seeing that kind of thing where it just immediately curves and just rolls straight to the pocket, that usually leads to 10 pins, but that didn't happen with this ball. It just slams into everything and clears it away. So that's actually surprising that I answered yes with that, because I've actually, and of all the times that I've used this ball from release day to now, I have never had a problem with carry with this ball. So that's pretty insane because of the shape that it gives. But do the colors help? If it wasn't for that blue and orange swirling together, I would have to answer no, but that blue actually saves it. So that's actually kind of crazy. If this ball were just like orange, I would have to answer no. It would be too bright. It would I just wouldn't be able to see it. So yeah, that blue actually is what's, or purple. I don't even know what that is. It looks blue to me, but that's what ends up saving it. So is it good on the fresh? Yes, indeed it is. All those shots that you guys saw were actually me using it on the fresh. Which means that I have to answer number 5. Is it good for transition? No. And I have experimented with this off camera. The ball becomes way too aggressive, like it really grabs at those dry spots and turns too much. It just doesn't make it. And I have to like make serious jumps to the left just to get it to make it there. And I have to like avoid those dry spots just to get it to the pins. And then just to, for me to say with 100% certainty that this ball just cannot handle dry lanes is, I took it to the bowling place that's actually closer to me. I took it there, and I don't like to go there because their house shot is kind of like a nightmare, and also they don't, you're never guaranteed a fresh lane. And I remember I went to this place. They gave me a beat up lane, and I threw the ball there, and I had to line up like on board 40 or something. I had to toss it over the left gutter cap just to get this ball there. And the problem with that was it was so dry that this ball couldn't make it to the pins. So, and if it did make it to the pins, the way this ball grabs at the lane and the way it, the way it hooks, it just dies out. So this ball just can't handle the dry lanes. I have been able to prove that. So that's kind of unfortunate. You see what I mean by this ball being being made for the reason that it filled the gaps that the trend was missing on. This ball is good. Like the trend is good for the fresh. It's good for the it's good for when the lane's dry, but the problem is that it's very lengthy because of the R2S cover, and it doesn't have, I mean, that piston core does help it get a good amount of pop, but, like if you were using this on a really heavy oil pattern, this thing would just probably end up going dead straight. But the Trend 2 was made for those reasons. It's earlier and it has more back end. So, anyway, enough about that. Number 6, does this ball give me immediate confidence? Hang on a minute, folks. You are not going to believe this. I think this is the first time that we are going to answer yes on this question. Isn't that crazy? I know that I didn't answer yes with this one on the ProMotion. I don't think I answered yes with this one even on the Trend. Definitely not with the Timeless or the Drive. I think this is the first time we're answering yes with this question. Isn't that crazy? It's unbelievable. Now that I think about it, I feel like with that question, I feel like in a way, this kind of exposes my pickiness with bowling balls. Like they have to have this and they have to have that. They have to do this and they have to do that. But then again, that is how we create an arsenal. Like certain bowling balls that stay in your bag, they're there because they do certain things for you. And this one, that question number 6 is a very important question for me. Does this ball give me immediate confidence? Because you need that immediate, when you're in a slump and you need to pick up that confidence, or you need that ball that just makes you go like, oh yeah, it's time to start striking. Like, bowling suddenly is just going to become easier for you because this ball, it just fills you with that confidence. That's actually, I know it may seem like a dumb question, but it's a very important question to me. So anyway, question number 7, does it help me stay focused? Believe it or not, it actually does. Throughout my experiences with this ball, I have been able to maintain my focus. I don't lose my focus, but I will say, like I said, the one issue that I have with this ball is that I have to put it back in the bag when the lanes start to dry because it can't handle it. But the most important thing is from the beginning, when I pick up this ball to the end, when I have to put it back in the bag, like probably midway through the block, if you know what I mean, I'm focused. I'm good. I don't lose my line with this ball. I'm good. So yeah, that's a yes for me on that one. Question number 8. Am I confident enough to use this in league? Yes, and I have. So that is definitely a good one right there. And then let's see. Number 9. Am I confident enough to use this in attorney? I have to answer no on this one because even though I have packed it in the bag and I feel like I would be okay to use this in league, I have to answer no because I have not used it in attorney. And so that's why I feel like if I answer yes, I'm just, straight up lying. So honestly, the best way I can put this one is if I had the chance to take this to attorney, which I've had plenty of chances, but if I could, I feel like I could be confident enough to use this in attorney if I whipped it out. But that's not good enough. I haven't used this ball in a tournament yet, so there's really I can't really say. I have to take this ball to a tournament one of these days and see if I can actually, if my confidence goes down or if it goes up, or we're gonna have to see that one day. Maybe the next tournament that comes up. I don't know when the next one is. There's always events at the bowling center that I go to. So one of these days I'm gonna take it there and we're gonna see. So anyway. Does this ball give you room to miss? Surprisingly, yes, it does, despite the fact that it really grabs at the lane and turns with a lot of backhand. So there you go. That is everything. So let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 out of 10. So you know what that means, don't you? That means that this ball gets 4 out of 5. So that means we have a tie. Wow. So that means that this ball didn't end up getting lower score like I thought it would. It definitely wasn't going to end up any higher, even though I do love this ball. I felt like it was, I don't know. That's crazy that it ended up at a tie with the trend. So, hey, I'm not complaining though. That's pretty great. I mean, this makes sense. It's not like it doesn't deserve a 5 out of 5. But it does deserve to be up there because of how good it's been for me. So this is a fair rating in my opinion. But again, I'm also surprised that it didn't get lower than the trend because that trend 2 is only good for me on the fresh. It's not good for me on the transition. So that surprises me just a little bit more that the trend didn't get higher than the trend 2, that it only ended up there. I mean, maybe it should have ended up at 4.5, but these questions, man, they don't lie. And they ended up at a tie for different reasons. Looking at the checklist when I did the trend, let's see. I answered no on questions 6 and 7. And on this one, I answered no for 5 and 9. So honestly, if I'd have used this ball in attorney, I would have been able to answer 9 with complete honesty. But I have to go with no because I didn't use it in a tournament yet. So I can't say. That is the trend 2. I'm not complaining. I like that rating. It's fair. Maybe, I don't know, if Belmo releases another ball next year, we'll probably do this again. And I will have, maybe things will have improved because I will say my release, my approach still isn't to where I want it to be. I know it's crazy because it looked pretty good, but trust me, there are still some issues that I'm having. Maybe we'll revisit it next year if he does release another Belmo ball, and we'll probably do this again next year if he does, and we'll see if things change or not. So by then I will have spent more time with these bowling balls and maybe things will change. But anyway, that's the trend 2, and now we move on to the fate in the next part, and that will definitely be a good one. I have high hopes for that one for sure because it's a pearl ball. So yeah, we'll see what happens. So that was the trend 2. I'm Frank the Tank. See you guys in the next part real soon. Peace.